Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-word and commentary, Ashton. And this is the week in review. So I believe this is the third week we've kind of been, changing the show a little bit. So for the uninitiated, especially because it's going to be another new change here that I want to reiterate. We first reiterated it on Thursday during our last quarterly Q&A. This is more of an open discussion week, mainly because we are quote unquote divorced from WWE. I mean, we'll still check in on it when we feel inclined, and we can talk about it if we so choose. I'm going to in just a second, just to get a little bit of wrestling in this episode. But yeah, we're also opening it up to pop culture, any shows or movies we watch, politics, which I'm very plugged into. If you're a member of our Discord, I think I'm probably most active in the politics channel. I'd be surprised if I wasn't, if it was another channel I was most active in. And just general topics. But I think a big change for this episode, and why I even wanted to do this kind of a preface, is that we are now going to be switching to weekly Q&As. So we appreciate Subaru and others that are still using the Q&A channel in the Discord to get questions in. I do think that's a great route. But even if you want to ask questions live like we've been doing, that is not going to change. You still have that right. So I just wanted to also reiterate that, because we said last Thursday that was our last quarterly Q&A. And man, did we pack it up, because it was a long one. So I think we went out with a bang on that front. So to begin with, I guess on some wrestling, I gotta tell you, man, this divorce feels right to me, because I tried watching just one segment from SmackDown, and it was Cody and Heyman, because I'm like, oh man, are they gonna try and do a Cody Brock feud for the title? And I may not be wrong, because unbeknownst to me, see, nobody mentioned this about Brock Cena at WrestlePalooza. They mentioned how shit it was. They mentioned that it was a squash for Brock. Brock kind of looked like shit from the clips that I saw personally. I don't know if the controversy is like getting to him, or if he's just checked out or whatever, but it didn't really feel like the beast to me. I really feel bad for John Cena that his retirement tour has kind of turned out this way. But the big thing was Heyman was at ringside for Brock. I don't know if it was just for like an entrance or what, but it seems like he's back in cahoots with Lesnar. And I'm just sitting here, and I kind of sighed when I put all that together, because I'm like, that is just so lazy to me. Like, you're talking about Heyman had such a run with Roman Reigns that part of that run included, I'll admit, I'm not going to retroactively change my opinion. I enjoyed it at the time. I'd probably enjoy it still now. A very fun last man standing match with Lesnar that saw Paul Heyman get F5 through an announce table. So you do all of that, and Brock couldn't challenge Roman for the title anymore, so he was out of the title picture. Again, that was thanks to Heyman, who betrayed Brock initially for Roman Reigns, even before the whole SummerSlam thing. And you're just good again. I'm like, that's lazy to me. It's insulting, whatever. I'm still keeping up a little bit with AEW, but mainly MJF stuff, which I'm going to have to switch gears, because apparently he is taking time off to rest up. So, that's good. We did watch TJPW. I thought the matches we watched, final three matches, were very good. Congratulations, Miyu Watanabe, now a two-time Princess of Princess champion. And Kamiyu, one half of the fucking tag champions. So yeah, there was some good stuff this week, but watching that WWE segment, man, we haven't even watched. This is now the second straight week we haven't watched Evolve, by the way. We're now behind 2 episodes. And so, yeah, I know we're both really committed to this divorce in different ways. But yeah, just watching that clip, I was like, yeah, we made the right call, because I just could not give a fuck, man. And then I saw that Tiffany apparently defended the title in a triple threat against both Nia and Jade. And I'm like, God damn, like, I thought we were going to get a draft. I thought this roster was going to suck less. This women's division on SmackDown was going to suck less. Literally the most compelling thing, because that's another thing I watched, still continues to be Io and Rhea's relationship and everything in that relationship's orbit, especially Asuka. Because Rhea beat Asuka this week, but then Asuka misted Rhea, one of the best missed jobs she's done. She even joked that Rhea looked like a Smurf. And then Io comes out, tries to keep the peace, because she still doesn't want to break away from Asuka and Kairi. And Asuka and Kairi end up beating down both Io and Rhea. I think that is the best angle right now in the entire company, at least by my lights, because it's the only thing I'm really enthusiastically paying attention to. But yeah, man, SmackDown is fucking the drizzling shits from what I'm watching. Did you watch anything from WWE this week that you would like to comment on?
Well, I watched the Sami Zayn Open Challenge with Javon answering it last night, and then the
Yes, you
next
did.
thing, and then after that ended, they were like, find out who the women's champion's gonna be going into Crown Jewel up next, and I was like, oh, okay, and I turned it off.
Yep.
So, that's the only thing that I've watched. I don't know if you've paid any attention to this, but NXT's had a PLE tonight that was, No Mercy, and there were some pretty interesting and surprising results coming out of that.
We did do a preview and predictions at the behest of Super Blue, so we might as well talk about it. What happened?
Why don't I pull up the results? Javon actually beat Briggs, surprisingly enough. I really thought that they were going to just use Javon being exhausted from his match with Sami Zayn last night on SmackDown to justify Briggs beating him, but they did not do that. Lainey Reed was apparently unable to get cleared to compete tonight, so she was replaced by Jada Parker in the match against Sol Ruka for the speed title. Sol retained, but there was like a weird thing at the end that led to the ending where Jada hit Hypnotic on Sol and then threw her back into the ring. And then Zarya was talking shit and Jada shoved her. And then Jada turned around to Lash Legend talking shit. And then Zarya went to spear Jada. Jada got out of the way and Zarya speared Lash. Then Jada, on her way back into the ring, got hit by a Soul Snatcher so that Sol would retain.
So, I mean, I love Sol Ruka to death. That just sounds like way too much going on.
Yeah.
So, next.
We had Jordan Grace beat Blake Monroe in the weaponized steel cage. I heard that this was underwhelming relative to people's expectations.
I'm guessing their first match is probably better if they're saying that. So, yeah.
Ethan retained against Tavion.
Yeah, I expected that.
A little over 10 minutes. JC retained against Lola Vice in the longest match on the card.
Really?
18
Wow.
minutes, 35 seconds.
Yep. Jesus. Okay.
Yep.
That's a lot of time for people. I mean, JC, to be fair, was actually a highlight in the triple threat match that she had against Masha and Ash by Elegance.
Yeah.
So JC can work decently. I still don't think Lola's that good of a worker. So 18 minutes,
yeah.
that's a lot.
And speaking of Ash by Elegance, she on a TNA, I guess it was a pay-per-view that happened last night. Ash by Elegance vacated the Knockouts title, and it was then competed for by Xia Li and Kalani Jordan, and Kalani won the thing. So Kalani Jordan is now the Knockouts champion.
Well, I guess something Lonnie. There you go. I hope it's a fun reign for
Alex
her.
Foster's got both of us covered. He said it already. Nobody wins championships that nobody expected them to win like Lonnie.
There you go.
Because no one expected her to win the North American title either. We all wrote her off, and now this too.
That is so true, King.
What's also true is that we have a new NXT champion.
Ricky Saints actually beat fucking Oba.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ricky, but I think that is so wrong. Oba better be getting called up if they're doing this. What the hell? Yeah. Again, nothing against Ricky. I'm not trying to shit on anybody's parade. I just feel like that was Javon's story. Wow. I just disagree with it. I'm sorry.
Okay. You don't need to apologize, bro. You're speaking both of our truth, honestly.
Yeah, like I think Ricky has a very well. Let me calm down there. I think Ricky has a future in the company. How bright it is, I couldn't even tell you. Again, I like him. That just feels kind of out of nowhere to me, honestly. Okay.
That's the show though. That was the NXT show that happened today. Yeah, that's everything. So, but then God, what were we talking about before I brought up the NXT thing? With just random shit that we watched this week with like the
just
thing. Oh, I know what I wanted to bring up. Did you see the botch that where Nia threw Jade too hard into the steel steps and Jade got busted open?
No, but that doesn't surprise me at all, dude. You got to understand when I heard that that's what the title match was, because sometimes I'll watch Tiffany stuff only because she's the champion. I actively in my own brain I said no, and that again shows you that speaking for myself, and I know you've been kind of on your own journey, I'm so glad that we like formally declared a divorce from WWE because it took like a lot of stuff off me. Like, I really don't want to watch this, but I should so I can talk about it. So no, I didn't. I'm like, fuck that. That sounds like the drizzling shits. And you telling me about that botch, I am 0% surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, yeah, that was. If you have our Discord pulled up, you can look in the NSFW channel, and Dom posted an image of the cut on Jade's forehead. He has it set as a spoiler tag so that it's not just there when you go in. You have to click on it to see it, but it's pretty fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, her eyebrows probably permanently fucked up.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing. I don't really have anything else to say. Oh, you know what? That's not true. I do have more to say.
Ooh, that's
Um,
sexy.
Pro wrestling wise, yeah. Because we watched some Stardom on Thursday that we didn't really talk about in our Q&A that might be worth talking about here. Um, Yuna failed to capture the high speed title. Tomoka failed to capture the white belt. And God, who challenged Suri for the IWGP again?
Suzu Suzuki.
Suzu failed to capture the IWGP title. And Suri said on social media or something that she has to defend the IWGP title out west. So I guess we don't know exactly who she's going to be defending it against, but it's probably safe to assume that it's going to be somebody in Stardom or New Japan Strong. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it was Mercedes, though, honestly.
Bro, take the baton from you for 2 seconds since we're talking Stardom. I read that Saya Kamitani beat Azumi for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. So Kamitani seems like a
Yeah.
champ,
That
unless
happened
I missed. Yeah.
literally, that happened today on what was supposed to be a PLE originally, but ended up becoming live streamed on YouTube. Um, yeah, that was today. Um, that was a title versus title match because Azumi beat Kamitani in the 5-star, so she got the challenge for the title, and I guess Kamitani talked her way into getting Azumi to put her title on the line as well. Kamitani won, so there you go.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Dude, I'll tell you.
Momo is challenging Saya for both titles on the November 3rd pay per view.
I was really hoping we were done with this like double title trend. Like I remember when being a double champion actually meant something, and I guess it still kind of does, but it feels like it's definitely depreciated in value, at
Mm-hmm.
least in other companies. Like, dude, I remember as a kid. I know this is like a random poll here, but at least we're talking wrestling, right, guys? I mean, Jesus. I remember when Eddie was both the United States champion and one half of the SmackDown like WWE Tag Team Champions with Chavo, and I thought that was like the biggest deal for him. I'm like, wow, 2 titles, and then of course Chris Benoit did it. He was World Heavyweight Champion at one time and World Tag Team Champions with Edge. And I
Yeah.
thought that was the coolest shit. I'm like, oh my God, my guy taking over the fucking world. So yeah, like back then, I just felt like it was a big deal. Granted, it was always kind of a not necessarily a cop out, but it's like, okay, well, you've also got a tag title, and tag titles have never meant anything in WWE. But yeah, and then just defending them both at the same time, like if you're gonna do it, I like the concept more where it's like different divisions, like different contender brackets, quote unquote, and you have 2 different title defenses in one night. The last time I saw that, oddly enough, was with WWE when Seth was both United States champion and WWE champion. Because that one night of champions, he defended the US title against Cena, but he defended the WWE title against Sting.
Yep.
And,
And he
I
injured Sting
appreciated
in the
that.
match. I remember.
Yeah, yeah. Which thankfully Sting though, he's still got to run in AEW, so all's well that
Yep.
ends well, I guess.
Yeah, it didn't end his
Um,
career. It just ended his WWE run.
exactly. So while we're on the subject of Stardom, I will say I think that had my favorite wrestling this week. I mean, I loved Inaba versus Kid. I thought that was a really fun fucking match. Although I will say, even though I added that as a match of the year contender, I'm still debating if I want to add Yuna versus May on there as well because I had so much fun with that match. I mean, Yuna has really grown on me in Stardom. I'm loving her story, and I actually want to see it through. And hopefully, seeing it through means seeing her win
Yeah.
the high speed championship because yeah, she
Yeah.
is excellent. I had so much fun with that match. Um, really, I thought the weakest match for me was Suzu versus Sodi, and even that match
Yeah.
wasn't bad.
Right.
I just like the other ones more. So you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely. I think I even agree with you, honestly. I'm not even just gonna say that it's reasonable. I think I fully just agree with you, honestly. Yeah. We did also do Tokyo Joshi this week. We did the final three matches of, I think it was Wrestle Princess 6, maybe? I don't know. Just happened though, not that long ago. Like over the past weekend, I think it was when it happened. But we got to see Priscilla Kelly versus Aris Endo, and Endo won the International Princess Championship, which is the one that like Maki Ito and Kamiyu and stuff have held before. We also got to see a tag title match where Kamiyu finally won tag titles, and she did it with Wakana Uehara, who was amazing defensively against the powerhouse team of Hyper Misao and Shoko Nakajima. And the main event was our favorite Tokyo Joshi wrestler, Miyu Watanabe, winning the Princess of Princess title back from Mizuki, which is who she lost it to in the first place. Like that was, Mizuki won that title from Miyu at the beginning of the year, and Miyu just won it back from her. So that's really exciting. And now, all of a sudden, every Princess of Princess championship match is going to be that much more interesting because Miyu is the one defending it.
Dude, I gotta tell you, and look, even I think when I was still on Twitter, um, there were times I would tweet about TJPW, and I would be hard on him, like not like visceral, but I would say like you've got such a fascinating roster to me, and yet I just don't really like a lot of the booking decisions in TJPW. This was a show, at least when it comes to the final three matches that we reacted to, just going purely up by that basis. I like the championship landscape. I mean, as you said, we both love Miyu Watanabe. She is far and away my favorite TJPW wrestler. She's fucking adorable, amazing look, and she can go. I mean, her power is a living, breathing highlight reel, as far as I'm concerned. Kamiyu, who I have championed for so long because I'm handsome and correct and I understand talent. Finally, TJPW does the right thing and agrees with me, and they give her a championship. And it's worth noting, apparently, Kamiyu was just freelancing with TJPW this whole time, because I did see that in the Discord, you and Gala talking about it. She finally put pen to paper and
Yeah.
came to a deal with TJPW. So that may be one reason why they gave her some fucking hardware. And now if she's put pen to paper, that kind of renews my dreams. Well, maybe she can even be an international princess champion at the very least.
She's held the international title already.
Well, then hold it again, because I wasn't there for that, or I don't remember it, and give her a better
Yeah.
run this time, because yeah,
She won
yeah,
it in 2020 and lost it in 2021. She held it
yeah,
for
I
almost
don't
3 months.
remember any of that. Yeah, I mean that actually does sound like a decent reign, to be fair to TGPW, so I will redact that criticism. But all this to say that her making a commitment, it gives me those Ibushi vibes, where it's like, oh, maybe they'll
Yeah.
push her harder now because it's a commitment.
I will
So
say, by the way, the reason you don't remember it is because she didn't really have any like noteworthy defenses. Honestly, the best defense she had was against Mirai.
yeah,
Back when Mirai was still in Tej as Mirai Mayumi, she challenged Kamiyu for that title one time in February of 2021 at a show that we did not watch because Rika Tatsumi was the world champion and we didn't give a shit.
yes. So I'm just very happy for Camille again, and I know I was kind of joking earlier, oh, handsome and correct, but like being very sincere, I have championed Camille for a long time on here, and it's just so, and really, I love Uehara as her partner. I
Yeah,
think they're a great team. I was with it from the jump. I'm like, this works. So I'm hoping they hold the titles. I'll even say, I'm gonna say 7 months. I'd like to see a 7 month reign from them.
7 months would take
Really,
us to what, like March, April ish.
just about, yeah. I think April,
Yeah.
like mid to late April, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm for that. Um, any other wrestling stuff you want to talk about before we switch to more pop culture? Because I mean, it was a good week in pop culture between
No,
South
I
Park
think
and
that covers it.
Peacemaker.
Honestly, I think that I'm good moving on.
Yeah, I mean, we watched South Park this week. Great episode. I really love the energy this week from it. They went after sports betting apps. And the big thing was there was a bet going, will Kyle's mom, otherwise known as Sheila Broblovsky, will she bomb a hospital in Gaza? And Kyle was understandably very aggrieved by that bet existing. He's like, who would do this? This is like horribly offensive, like, and then, and it's so funny because, and Ashton can vouch for me here, I had told Ashton a few weeks ago I wanted South Park through Kyle to talk about Israel Palestine. This isn't the way that I envisioned it. I
Yeah,
envisioned maybe like Cartman being a dick about it, or friends like asking Kyle stuff, and he's like, "Why are you asking me?" And then Kyle does the introspection about like, what does my Judaism mean to me when people are like doing a genocide in the name of my religion? Because Kyle's always been the moral center of South Park. They didn't go that route though in talking about Israel Palestine. Instead, and I was really afraid where they were going to go. Like again, Ash can vouch for me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really thought that they were going to have the bet be that Sheila did accidentally bomb that hospital in Gaza, and I'm like, oh god, please don't do it. Because at first I thought, well, classic South Park, but then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, they can't do this. Like it's already so bad, like the rhetoric around Palestine, this and that, and good things are finally starting to happen, which we may get into later because I'm thinking we'll talk about politics again this episode. I know I've got stuff to say. But they didn't do that. Instead, they had Sheila, who was just over everybody's bullshit, like asking her about it, prodding her about it, just to see where they wanted to bet on the app. Uh, Go to Israel and give Netanyahu just an earful. She didn't even like punch him or anything. I even thought that she was just going to beat the crap out of Netanyahu, which would have popped me hard. Instead, no, she just reads him the riot act. And then the other story is that little baby JD Vance is telling Trump, when Satan has this baby, you're not going to have time to do all the Trump stuff anymore. No rallies, no parties, no more Epstein's Island, any of that, or Mar-a-Lago, anything like that. And he just tries the whole rest of the episode to terminate the pregnancy, to make it, terminate it and get rid of it. And it's very Looney Tunes-esque.
Yeah.
And every time it gets thwarted by, and this is the big person they lampoon this week, Brendan Carr, the chair of the FCC that tried to strong arm Kimmel and try and act like a tough guy. Now, I kind of gave a rundown there, so I'm going to hand it to you, Ashton, first of all, to ask you what you thought of the episode. And then second of all, if you would share with the chat here, with our audience, what you shared with your mom and I about theories that you read about Satan's pregnancy, because I thought that was genius.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to share that because you broke that with us.
Yeah, it was a fun episode. I don't think that it was like one of the best episodes of the season, but I absolutely loved the way that So I think my favorite scenes in this episode were Cartman trying to get in Kyle's ear, like, listen, man, this is offensive. If you don't do something about this, who will?
Yeah.
And really trying to egg Kyle on to try and get something done about it, because he was actually his ulterior motive was that he was just betting on no, of course it's not going to happen, and he was trying to get the odds to swing so that he could make more money from betting that. And he ended up putting $14,000 off of his mom's credit card on that option. And I
Yes.
loved the closing scene of the episode with Sheila just viscerally tearing down Netanyahu to his face verbally. It was great.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a fun one for sure. But the big theory though about Satan's pregnancy is that Satan is going to give birth to either the literal physical Epstein files or twins named Epstein and Files, or Jeffrey and Epstein, or something like that, like something along those lines. And the whole gimmick is just that, oh, I guess that explains why Trump didn't want them to get out, kind of thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
that would be really funny for sure.
Yes.
Maybe Satan gives birth to twins, and Trump is like, "Oh no, buddy!" And Satan's like, "Wow, Donald, you really didn't want these getting out. I guess I know what I'm gonna call them: Jeffrey and Epstein," or something like that.
Yeah, 100%. While we're in this political moment of far right fascism, I think the even more apt show we watched this week was Peacemaker.
Yeah. This was a great
season-
episode. This was like the monumental episode of Peacemaker. This was where everything changed because it was discovered by people other than Chris that this whole time Chris had been going to a literal Nazi universe where the Nazis won World War II and have taken over the world.
To be honest, this might have been a series favorite for me. Because just thinking about it, like, first of all, Chris, like, it's just not a good look. But you know what? I like that Chris doesn't see it, because so many like black and just people of color, like commentators and stuff that consume media and stuff, they will always tell you that whiteness is treated as the default. And that's how Chris treated it. Like he just sees all this, like, oh yeah, it's a normal land, whatever. But even Harcourt, to her credit, again, like you said, everybody but Chris. She's having a cars scene with Chris's brother. I forget his name. Um, and she kind of narrows her eyes when she's looking at the sidewalks and the city streets, and she's like, wow, there's not one person of color here. And yeah, I mean, the tension as they're building up the reveal, I thought was so well done. I thought the dialogue between Chris and Harcourt was very moving, on both sides.
Yeah,
Uh,
the interrogation room scene was great.
yeah, I thought Adrian was fantastic.
Dude, Adrian has quickly become my favorite character in Peacemaker. It's amazing how funny he is.
It's amazing because like a character like Adrian, I feel like is very difficult to write because it'd be so easy to get him, in my mind, like in that cul-de-sac of just like inceldom and very insecure and stuff like that, and just so unlikable because of that. But they're able to walk that line just perfectly because in this episode he slut shames Harcourt, right? Because he has that line. Because his mom thought that him and Harcourt were dating, and he's like, "Oh my god, shut up, mom, fuck off, go away." And then Harcourt confronts him about it, and I forget how it was teed up, but she's like, "Oh, by saying I'm slutty," and then Adrian's like, "Well, yeah, you got to mix a little bit of truth in there." And so like he's such an asshole, right?
Yeah.
But then in the same beat, you have him talking about Beanie Babies and how he wants them to be careful because he thinks their value is going to swing back,
Yeah.
and befriending his own doppelganger and just laughing and doing Spider-Man meme. Literally, they even do that at one point.
Yeah,
Spider-Man meme.
literally at first he
Yeah.
literally said, "Oh my god, we did the Spider-Man meme."
And then I love just his reaction because he's like, "Are you best friends with Peacemaker? What? No, fuck that dude. He's why I joined the Sons of Liberty." And
Yep.
then our Adrian's like, "I'm sorry, what?" And like he's just so confused, like,
Yeah.
"Oh God." And I thought he was gonna burst in and give the reveal, but that's not how it happened. Um, that I'm sorry for laughing at this, but the way he sold it, it popped me. And again, there's something wrong with me, I know it, but Economos who lets yeah, who lets ads, go for a walk by herself, which was completely ill advised because Ashton and I knew it was coming. I'm sure a lot of people did too. He's alone. And then Chris's father comes home,
Yep.
who we already know from the first season was a piece of shit in the regular universe.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, like he comes in, he knows Economos is there, and he stabs him in the hand. And the way Economos reacts to that, it just fucking popped me. I think he literally was like, "Oh, you stabbed me in the fucking hand." He's just like freaking out about it. Um, Even the beginning of the episode when Chris is having pizza, or
Yeah.
he's like at dinner with like Harcourt and his brother and his father,
Yeah.
and somebody asks for a selfie, and after the selfie's taken, all their faces start melting in this really creepy
Oh
effect.
my god, yeah, that was so weird.
Dude, yeah, and then of course the ending, Ads getting chased by a bunch of white people who are seeing her and they're kind of staring at her, like gawking at her,
Dude.
like what the fuck?
Dude, and the way they set that up with fucking Keith coming to a screeching halt in his pickup truck, honking his horn and saying, "A black! One of them got out!" Oh my
Yeah,
god, that is the stuff of horror.
and then she had the correct reaction because she literally says, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no.
And then Chris unfurls the American flags at the Argus office to see that the Nazi symbol has replaced the stars
Yep.
in the blue square, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And like, yeah, Chris, oh fuck,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I also too like I think my favorite scene I love though that those happened almost simultaneously. Like the
yes,
reveal of the Nazi flag with Ads getting chased down by the entire neighborhood of white people because she's a black who got out. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, are all
yeah.
black people just like working like slave labor camps in this universe? That's fucking crazy.
Oh, and yeah, and because they're invisible, like, is this a 60
Yeah,
million merits thing? Like, where is the camp? Like,
yeah,
is it underground? Like, is it far
yeah,
away? Like, what are they doing? Like,
yeah. Yeah, and then, but no, dude, I honestly, I think the funniest scene of the entire episode to me was Economos was so weirded out that he started like having a gag reflex
yeah, yeah,
when, yeah, like when they were talking about how Chris killed the version of himself that was in that universe already, and Economos is like, "Ugh, ugh, too weird. It's too weird," and he's just gagging, trying to puke. That scene was so funny to me. Holy shit, that popped me so hard.
Yeah.
Between that and Adrian's obsession with finding his doppelganger, and then he does, and they both react the same way, like, "Hey!" It was so good. And they're like going back and forth, like, favorite color, 3, 2, 1, burgundy, and they both say it at the same time, and it all just builds up to this idea that Peacemaker's actually like that universe's Adrian's arch nemesis. Really great storytelling. I really loved that.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a great
It
episode.
was a phenomenal piece of television this week.
Yep.
Um,
Miss,
speaking of, no, I'm sorry. What were we gonna say?
I want to know where you're going with this.
Oh no, I was gonna talk about Doctor Stone actually. That
That's
we
exactly
kind of
where I
finished
was
that
going
out.
next too. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. That I'll tell you, this arc has been some of my favorite stuff in the entire anime. I mean, I am pulled in. I can't believe we have to wait till January now for them to come back and go to the fucking moon.
At least
But
I've been seeing like January, maybe more likely March or April.
yeah, yeah. Which I mean, hell, the way I consider it is if we're able to go to distance and be around for all this stuff, that just makes waiting for Don a lot easier. I watched
That's
the
true.
final few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the final few minutes of the finale again, actually, before we went live. I just like hurting myself, I guess.
Well,
But
the
yeah,
final few
Doctor
minutes
Stone
where that
is fantastic.
alien woman that was controlling the kaiju kisses Okarun.
And then Ira gets blown, or fucking Ira. Yeah, so no, Doctor Stone's fantastic. Suika is best girl.
He is
Worked so
great.
hard. And yeah, no, I really, I'll tell you, I always liked Doctor Stone, but I think it really took me a while to like get in it. And now I feel like this arc, I'm like, I'm in it because man, the stakes were so high, and they played that really well. So yeah, I think across the board, we watched a lot of great media this week. We watched Fixed last night, Gendy Tartakovsky's most recent animated film, and I gotta tell you, for a raunchy comedy, it was in my mind pretty good by raunchy comedy standards because I usually can't stand those because the gross out humor and stuff gets old very quickly to me. But the animation style was like classical Disney, which kind of lent it a certain charm, and they had a stacked voice cast. I mean, Adam Devine, fucking Catherine Hahn, Idris Elba, who I think
Dude,
would really
Idris
stand
Elba
out.
was absolutely the best thing about that movie to me. He was amazing.
Yeah, dude, his line delivery on everything, I thought like you believed it. You even
Yep.
believed his pain, his trauma of not getting any teeth. Like
Yeah.
God, mom, no nipple for me. Jeez.
And then at the end when he was like, and remember, you might not all get the tape. That doesn't make you any less of a dog.
Exactly. Excellent. 10 out of 10 impersonation, by the way.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, no, I just loved his voice, and then that
yeah.
was a really cute line at the end. It's weird because the movie used every like cliche cat and dog joke in the book, but it definitely had heart. I think it was cute.
I think I like how you said that because I would agree. It didn't feel like a cash grab, and really, it was so cool, because what a huge fan of Tartakovsky I am, and it was so cool seeing him do more of like a classic animation style.
Yeah.
Because it just shows how like versatile he is. And now we're seeing, because you posted in the movies and television channel, this like teaser for this movie. I guess it is a movie. It could be a show. Called The Black Knight, and that
Yes.
also seems like a different style. I have to
Yep.
actually look at it again because I don't know. I don't know what I would compare it to. I have to look at it again to get a more like
It
sharp
looks
impression in my mind.
super dope though. It looks
It
really
does.
cool.
Oh my god, yeah, it
I don't
does.
know if
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know if I would rather have that than like Primal Season 3, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Tartakovsky's in a place with me that anything that his name's on, I owe it to myself to check out at least one episode, or if it's a movie, to just watch it and go from there.
I will say,
Um,
apparently, Primal Season 3 is happening and we are going to get it next year.
well, that again, anything to get me from there to Don season 3, I will be very fucking grateful.
Well, you know
And
what, though? We're also getting two really fun anime movies this coming winter. In literally like the next like 3 months, we're getting the Chainsaw Man movie that I know you're super duper stoked about, and I'm excited about to a degree as well. But the other one that I'm way more excited for is we're getting the Undead Unluck short film.
yes, yes,
Oh my god, those can't get here, dude. I've been obsessing with Dandanon lately, but
yeah,
like if you had me rank anime that live rent free in my head, I think Undead Unluck might be number one, honestly.
See, and I don't blame you because it's a phenomenal anime. For me, obviously, it's done to done. I am obsessed with that show to the point where I've watched multiple video essays about it. If we got more Chainsaw Man, like waiting this long for the movie, because I'm telling you guys, Chainsaw Man, first of all, one of the best openings to any anime I've seen, like literally like intro song and intro animation, just incredible. I love the premise. I love the soundtrack. I love the characters. Chainsaw Man is art. And I have missed it so fucking much. And what I hate about them taking so long to have anything released in America is unless you're a diehard, like really dyed in the wool anime culture type person, if you were just getting into it, you might have forgotten how good Chainsaw Man is. I think I've even forgotten a little bit how good it is, and you hear me right now raving about it. I cannot wait for that fucking movie. But yeah, Undead Unluck. You want to talk about world building and interesting concepts and characters? Like anime's having a moment right now,
And
man.
dude, and romance. I mean, Undead Unluck is low key a romance in and of itself.
That's very true. I like how romance is these days between that and Don Don. I wouldn't say subtle, but it's like they're built in a different way by not being overemphasized. It's like we're going to emphasize everything around the romance, but the romance somehow is still going to be important. And it's so good when you can walk that line.
Yeah.
And really, I'll say about anime too, man, it's seeming increasingly more and more like it's cool to be into anime now. I feel like anime fans that have been like again, dyed in the wool from day one, like Serial Experiments Lane era anime fans. It's like it's finally a cool thing. It's mainstream, I guess you could say in a word.
Yeah.
And yeah, like mainstream in a way that I've never seen. And I know that there have been popular anime before. I mean, of course, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, of course, but it feels different because it's not just one property carrying the load. It feels like there are multiple like
Dude,
properties. Yeah.
it's so funny you bring up the mainstream of anime because I literally I think it might have even been yesterday, watched a video of a few like podcast chuds talking to Hassan about how political anime is, and the one specific example he brought up was One Piece, and talking about how like fucking Luffy is literally like would be considered a terrorist if he was in our world, basically, because he's like trying to like do all this stuff against like the federal government, basically, and stuff. And like these dudes were like jaws open, mind blown, and sometimes they would like laugh, like, "Oh, look at this guy, he can't stop thinking about politics and everything." But no, like it's so real. Like anime is, especially some of the popular ones, are super duper political in like based and good ways. And the fact that they are becoming more mainstream, I mean, let's be real. I think we've all watched some YouTube reactors reacting to some of our favorite anime, right?
Oh my God, yeah,
Of
absolutely.
course, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that to me, that is like once the big YouTube reactors start reacting to something, that's when I would consider it to be mainstream.
I don't mean to do this as a segue because we don't have to get into politics if you don't want to. So I just want to stress again, I do not mean to say this as a segue, but to stay on the anime stuff about the level certain anime has reached, specifically One Piece, you've achieved something when the Jolly Rod, like the Straw Hat flag, the Jolly Roger flag,
Yes.
is used in legitimate political rebellions.
Yep.
Like Oda has made it. And by the way, if you want to know how based Oda is, it's apparently said that he has a picture of Che Guevara in his office. Like that dude's about it, right? And
I don't know
like
who
you can
Oda is.
he's the creator of One Piece.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he apparently has like strong leftist leanings,
Nice.
apparently. And it really makes sense when you watch One Piece because it's not, especially with Luffy's like latest transformation, because here's the thing, I'm not like actively watching One Piece. I've watched a good bit of it, but I am going to be one of those fans. It's like it's too big a mountain to climb. I know, but my brain can only do things for so long until it wants to move on to the next thing. That's why philosophy is like the one constant in my life, and that's how I know it's a true passion, because I can't even get through a show by myself anymore, which is why I get through most of my shows with Ashton and his mom. But yeah, like I check in on One Piece occasionally because I just have such a respect for the anime, and I do love the characters in the world. Luffy's latest transformation and like his latest power up that happened, a while back, he's pretty much kind of like a sun god. And he can bend reality to his will, like in his ultimate
Jesus.
form, because his whole thing is like freedom. He wants to fight completely free and uninhibited by anything. And he's what they call Joy Boy. He liberates people, the drums of liberation. And so, yeah, he's a liberator now. And that's kind of, and he's always been a pirate. That's the thing. Like, one of the best scenes I've seen in One Piece. So there's this arc, the Enies Lobby arc. And one of their crewmates, who I don't think was an official crewmate at the time, but her name's Robin, she's like called this demon, and she's wanted by the world government because of her knowledge and I guess her powers. And she turns herself in because she doesn't want to endanger the Straw Hat crew, Luffy and everybody. They burn the world government flag. He has their sniper, who's called Sniper King, but it's Usopp in disguise, snipe down the world government flag, and it's burning. And that's essentially declaring war on the world government. You're damn right, Luffy wouldn't be in favor of our government either. He would look at all these fascists and he would want to punch Trump in the face. And I would laugh about it. Like, yeah, Luffy's fucking awesome. In fact, I'm a DBZ guy until I die. If you had to make me choose between Luffy and Goku, I think I'm choosing Luffy. Like, I love early Goku. Goku and Super kind of got on my nerves a little bit because I feel like he lost some of his heart and sensibility that he had in DBZ. Luffy's the fucking goat, though. I mean, that dude, he has always stood up for like oppressed people. Not that that's like his mission. Again, he wants to be free. He wants other people to be free. He wants to have fun. And that's another thing too that I liked about his latest power up. It's such an anime trope that you get a power up because a friend died or because, you're feeling very emotional. Luffy gets his power up from sheer joy. He wakes up from the last fight that he was in and he's like, "Oh, what happened?" And he said, "Oh, I lost the fight." And he starts laughing. And that's like how he powers up, is just pure joy. I think there's something so beautiful in that. Yeah, One Piece is fucking goated. Like, I may never finish it, but it's art, and I can recognize it for what it is, especially when it's gone as long as it has. I mean, this anime started in late fucking 90s. It's going on almost 30 fucking years. Like, that's insane to me. That is by anime standards, that is some Simpsons fucking shit, okay?
Yeah.
Like, that is insane. And the idea that Oda, again, the creator of One Piece, has seen his work reach such a level that people who are rebelling against their own autocratic government see that flag as a symbol of their liberation. My king, you never have to write another fucking anime again. And in fact, I'm fascinated by what he'll even want to do after one. Like, what do you do after that? Nobody really starts with their magnum opus, right? Like, I feel like he did the whole thing in fucking reverse. Like, what do you do after that? But anyway,
was One Piece his first thing, or was it just the first thing he wrote that caught traction?
That is such a good question. Let me even look that up because I know Wiki would have it. It probably wasn't his first thing, but I mean, if it was, Jesus Christ, let's see. Manga. Okay, yeah, his first thing was something called Wanted in 1992. I don't think One Piece.
Wait, Wanted? Like the Wanted that got the movie made out of it with Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy? And
I don't think so. It's Wanted.
Morgan Freeman?
I don't think so. Actually, oh my God. Wanted might have been a collection of short stories which would later become like One Piece with the same pirates and everything. So by all accounts, that is fucking nuts. He did do other stuff, but like, yes, so much of this comes back to like One Piece lore. That is crazy. And yeah, One Piece debuted in 1997. So it's 2 years shy of being 30 years old. That's fucking nuts. Oh my God. So yeah, he's
apparently while Wanted, the movie with Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy and Morgan Freeman, was in fact based on comic books. It was a U.S. comic book written by Mark Millar and illustrated by J.G. Jones. So obviously not Oda.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy. But yeah, I didn't mean to turn this into like a One Piece dissertation, but really just to say that like anime is doing insane things right now. And I'll tell you,
honestly, like, if we didn't just have this constant influx of new content, I would ask if you would want to watch One Piece with me and my mom from the beginning, because she's into it.
I absolutely would. And here's the thing, it is one of the anime where I would watch dubbed. I've never watched subbed One Piece. So, and like, that's like a big thing for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all this to say that like, I think One Piece is a testament, and this is where I'll kind of segue to some political talk, because we have some important things to talk to you about, especially if you are a citizen of these United States of autocracy. And that's that art is so important as a bulwark against fascism. And I think One Piece is really showing that again by being shown in Nepal, in Indonesia, Palestine, Gaza.
Yeah.
Um, that flag's really become a symbol. But let's talk about just news real quick. Let's make this more rapid fire because I don't want to be too steeped in depression. For one thing, we need to talk about Trump's executive orders about domestic terrorism and Antifa. We all need to be really careful going forward how we protest and how we act.
Yeah.
I'm even trying to think about how I want to speak. I mean, I'm cooked either way. My digital footprint is way too large. They'll have no problem proving that I'm a leftist. I pretty much shout from the rooftops once a day that I'm a communist and I hate this system. But for everybody that's more sensible than me, keep being sensible because that's definitely going to be a way to go. Uh, they want to put a lot of funds and a lot of manpower behind breaking up democratic groups. Really, I think the ultimate goal is to be a one-party state. As many people have said long before this, they are acting like elections won't matter and that they have no intention of leaving. Hell, even Trump building this ballroom, people are like, you think he's building this ballroom just to leave in 3 years? No fucking way. Like, he wants to enjoy this, for the rest of his natural life, which hopefully won't be for much longer given all the health issues he's got going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the whole domestic terrorism thing should be horrifying, especially when we have to remember, and always remember this with fascists and just conservatives more generally, every accusation is a confession because who's doing all the political violence right now? The far fucking right. The far right killed Charlie Kirk. The far right did the ICE detainee shooting in, I want to say, was that
Texas.
Colorado? Texas. Thank you, Texas. Um, and then Kash Patel, who's a fucking little worm, and the FBI has always been corrupt. You're never going to see me be an FBI ass kisser, but this might be the most corrupt that the FBI has ever been. I don't know. I mean, I think I would defer to every black person on that fucking issue, but I digress. He is falsifying evidence to try and blame it on quote unquote the radical left. I fucking wish. Being like Tyler Robinson had a trans girl, which it's so funny that they're again throwing trans people under the bus because that girlfriend that Tyler Robinson had, she talked the police. She was very cooperative, told him everything. And yeah, they're still like, oh, we need to do something about this. She fucking helped. You'd have nothing without her. So like, eat shit. I don't know. And then the fucking bullet casings.
Bro, I was gonna say, did you see the fucking alleged texts, or
Dude, everybody's
not
talking about
texts,
those.
not the
Yeah.
text, the alleged note written by the ICE shooter,
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see
the
that.
guy that shot the ICE detainees? Yeah, a woman. I don't know if she was like the DA or chief of police. I don't know. I have no clue what she. I just know that while doing some kind of a press conference about the person who shot up the ICE detainees, read what they are alleging was a note written by the shooter that basically implies that they intended to shoot ICE officers and that they wanted to try and avoid hurting any prisoners. And so they're basically trying to paint it like, oh, well, the intention was to kill the officers, and this person just has the worst aim in history.
So is the shooter Dick Cheney's ghost? The fuck?
Wait, is Dick
Uh,
Cheney still alive?
actually, you know what? He probably is. He's just so invisible that I assumed he was dead. But yeah, I mean, what the fuck is that? Because we already know from testimony that I've heard that, when ICE agents confronted him, he turned the gun on himself. So you would have had a clear shot right fucking there to at least try and take one down, and you turned it on yourself. So I ain't fucking buying it because all this regime does is lie. Like most of the political class, to be fair, but like we definitely are in a post-truth era politically. The truth is whatever they say it is, or at least that what they want to make it be. So that's one thing. Charlie Kirk, there's still a lot of questions about his shooting, but man, Erica Kirk did not take long to fucking grieve and rebound. Holy fucking shit. I'm glad people are pointing out that for an ideology that wants women back in the home barefoot and pregnant, that this woman is a CEO and now she's president of Turning Point USA and doing all this other stuff. So again, another rule about fascists. So every accusation is a confession. The second rule, to keep it pithy and succinct, fine for me, but not for thee, because they will try and limit all of your freedoms and all of your liberty and tell you what you can and can't be. But for them, it's carte blanche. I'll get an abortion for my mistress, but you can't get an abortion. I'll have all the gay sex on Grindr I want, but your homosexuality is sinful and repulsive.
Yeah.
All this stuff. So just don't forget that. Forget that they hate life for everyone else, but they want all the life for themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one fundamental egoistic reason. Because see, beyond the principled reasons, I've got to tell you guys, like, I've just really come to the fact that I do love life a lot. And I am also and again, I kind of mentioned this a few weeks ago. I do have elitist tendencies. I just realized those elitist tendencies are against the rich because I don't like these uneducated, oafish people that, again, unlike other people that are uneducated due to lack of resources and lack of accessibility, could be educated and noble-minded and everything else, but they just choose to be the worst versions of themselves. We're all better than them. And that's the thing. Even if I get clapped, even if anybody around me gets clapped, which you never know, right? Like, it's fascism. Nobody is safe under fascism. Nobody. Even the people cheerleading it the hardest. That doesn't make you safe. That just maybe puts you further in the back of the line than other people, but you're still on the hit list, right? I'll go fucking laughing knowing that we're still better than these people, because fascists and far right people generally are the most insecure, pathetic people you will ever meet. They hate everybody else's authenticity. They hate everybody else's happiness because they can't have it. They won't allow themselves to have it because they're trying to fit in too many things at once. Like, I hope that every repressed person heals, but Jesus Christ, and I don't mean to be insensitive when I say this, but repressed people are a lot. They are a lot to fucking manage because it seems like when they're repressed, it's everybody else's fucking problem. And repression is pretty much the core, in my mind, of the right wing ideology. Just full stop. So, yeah, they're trying to make Antifa an actual organization. It isn't. It's a mindset. If you're not Antifa, then you're just fascist, because Antifa literally means anti-fascist, and they know that. They're not going to play hide the ball with us. They know what it means. They don't care because they are fascist and they hate anti-fascist. It's that simple. Um, Big news coming out of Gaza. Finally, we've got some movement. European countries, Spain, and big shout out to Italian dock
The
workers, because I
flotilla.
need the flotilla, backing up the flotilla with their own ships. Again, I want to give a big shout out to Italy, not their prime minister. Meloni can go fuck herself. But the Italian dock workers that did a general strike and shut the economy down. That's why, like, I tried to find a post a few weeks ago, and I'm still trying to find it again, but I'm going to try and paraphrase it, right, to the best of my ability. Somebody was hopeful that we were going to make it through the other side of this, not to be complacent. I really need to stress here, not to be fucking complacent. Any way you can resist, any way you can protest, any way you can dissent, show compassion in a revolutionary way, whatever. Fucking do it. Fucking do it, please. Why they're hopeful, if we keep doing all of that, is the scale of the operation. When you look at this logistically, this government is spending millions of dollars a day on ICE presence in certain cities, on National Guard in certain cities. And I know ICE got a shit ton of funding, but that doesn't mean that they're still not burning through money, right? Because everything costs money, and them doing this costs money. When you look at historically other fascist countries, and I want to focus specifically on Germany because that's always the big one, right? Germany at the time that Hitler descended was 66 million people population wise. We're nearing close to 350 million people in the US.
Yep.
Do you see what I'm getting at here, people? To scale that kind of operation for full autocracy of a country that size, I'm not saying it's not doable. I mean, they're trying their damnedest. But, it's going to be difficult. And that's why I'm so disappointed, but not surprised, mind you, with every company and university that complies in advance. Because if nobody complied in advance, they couldn't do fucking shit. Like, that would just be a logistical nightmare for them. The fact that people are feeling fear, and keep in mind, and again, I don't really like to go after anybody because I feel like it veers on ableism, but I'm just calling it as I see it with our current rulers. You're afraid of a guy that has all these health issues. That is he? Trump's an octogenarian at this point, right? Or is he still a septuagenarian?
Probably.
Yeah, either way, old as fuck, right?
79.
Okay, so just fucking borderline octogenarian. Can't even say acetaminophen, right? Can't even say right conflicts. He's like Azerbaijan and whatever when it was like Armenia or Albania and some other country. I don't know, but it's not my job to know. He's the fucking president of the United States. He did have one funny moment where he apparently had a meeting with Erdogan, the Turkish president, who I don't like. You guys may have maybe even heard me mention him on an episode or two when we get more political. I've never liked Erdogan. He jails opposition. He suppresses journalists, all that stuff. Trump apparently pointed at him and he's like, everybody's talking about rigged elections. Nobody knows more about rigged elections than this guy. And I'm like, wow, finally Trump made a funny that even I could pop at. So yeah, we're seeing more Gaza resistance. there, which I mean is only going to be a problem because the U.S. is still supporting Israel. But we've got Italy stepping up, and that's the thing. To go back to that point, they were able to do a general strike because of, I guess, just logistically, country population, stuff like that. I wish the U.S. would do a general strike because this government would not know what to do. It would not know what to do. But I've given up hope on a general strike right now. I don't think it's going to happen. Oddly enough, if it was going to happen, it probably would be over the Epstein files before anything else, because that seems to be a broad consensus issue. Which, speaking of, more Epstein files did get released, and we found out that Steve Bannon's name was on them. Trump's name, of course, was on them. We already fucking knew that. Peter Thiel's name was on them, and Elon Musk's name was on them. And Elon Musk has had a very terrible week, which makes me pop in all the right places, because New York Times did a big cover story on his father being pedophilic. I think just beyond his stepdaughter, even. I think he's had a history of like child sexual abuse, which is just really bad for Musk, which is just really amazing for all of us. I don't feel bad for his father at all. His father is just the biggest piece of shit. Once said, well, of course, my son Elon had friends. He was friends with the help. That's how I referred to the black people that worked for him. So, yeah, you can imagine the kind of man that he was. Yeah. He also thought that the end of apartheid in South Africa was going to be its downfall.
From what I understand, aren't Elon's grandparents literally, like, they supported the Nazi regime in Germany?
I believe you're correct. I believe you're correct.
That's the kind of people they are right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, that says everything, doesn't it? And so, yeah, God, what else? So we talked about Palestine. Oh, also with Palestine, I should give a shout out, because I did talk to Ashton about this the other night. The Colombian president is really seizing this moment. I mean, obviously, look, there are always selfish reasons to do stuff like this. I don't know if he has an election coming up or what. I really do not know Colombian politics, and I do just want to put that disclaimer. I don't want to talk about things that I know nothing about. But the Colombian president came out with a standout speech in the UN, condemning Israel, liking them to not Nazi war crimes, blaming the U.S. for being a collaborator in this genocide, which I think is correct. Absolutely, indisputably, across party lines, by the way, because this all started under Biden's administration. So we just got to keep it honest. And he called for an armed force to liberate Palestine, and he said he would commit 2,000 soldiers to the project. That's a big fucking deal, guy. I really think, now, do I think it came a little too late? Pessimistically, I think, yeah, because, Israel is in the final stages of Gaza. They're literally talking about real estate deals, divvying up the land. But, and I do think this is kind of a hollow victory, but still a victory, Israel's fucking cooked after this. Nobody wants to work with them. Everybody knows what they are. Now you've got people backing up aid ships that if Israel fucks with them, that's got to be a declaration of war in my mind. And then you get NATO further entangled. Yep. So they're fucking nervous. And by the way, I just want to remind everybody, just to show you how vile and depraved human beings can be. And you know what? I'm not even going to call Netanyahu a monster, because there's one scholar I liked. His name is David Livingston Smith. He talks about how, like, no, we shouldn't use dehumanizing language, only because we should remember the evils and the good, both, that human beings are capable of. Netanyahu's a human being. And I want us all to remember that, not in the compassionate way, but just in the general biological way. He's not other than human. He's human. He did all of this. He slaughtered countless people, many of them women and children. Also, he could avoid going to jail, because before all this fucking shit happened, he was set for a corruption trial, and they had him dead to fucking rights. So how do you avoid any of those legal proceedings? How do you stay in power? It's the same thing they're talking about with Trump. They're afraid that Trump's going to start a war so he can cancel the 2028 elections. That's what he did. That's what Netanyahu did. He's like, okay, because as people have pointed out, if you can broadcast, because I don't know if you knew about this, Ashton, you want to know how fucked everything is over there, as if you needed any more fucking proof. They apparently broadcast Netanyahu's speech through phones in Gaza with, I guess, people that still had fucking phones there. They broadcast speech so they would be forced to listen to it. And as people have pointed out, if you have that kind of technological capability, you're seriously telling me you didn't know about Hamas's attack? I mean, I don't really like to be too conspiratorial, but like, this regime is so depraved. Yeah, I'm willing to bet they used it as a fucking pretext. Like, oh, cool, we can do the ethnic cleansing we've always wanted to do against Palestinians, because we've always hated Palestinians. And I won't have to go to court. 2 birds, 1 stone. Let's fucking do it. He did all of this just so he would avoid accountability. Mm-hmm. That's why I fucking hate powerful people. That's why they make me fucking sick. Because you would literally steep your hands in the blood of innocence than just face up to what you fucking did. And that is a part of our nature. Not our nature personally. I'm just talking the human species in
Human
general.
nature, yeah.
Human nature. We're capable of it. We need to accept that. We're also capable of beautiful things, as Greta Thunberg has shown us. Man, what a fucking leader. All the conservative fucking weirdos that picked on her when she was a child, by the way. Real great
Picked on her
masculinity
and
there.
sexualized her, by the way.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up too, because you're absolutely right. Leading the charge and being more of a leader than anybody on the Democratic side and especially the Republican side.
Yeah.
Like people like Greta Thunberg, that's what I want my socialism based on. That's what I want my communism based on, is people like Greta Thunberg. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible. More courage and tenacity than fucking most. And I want to thank Spain as well, because Spain, I think, really didn't want to be on the wrong side of history either. And again, Italian workers move fucking history, people. Workers move history. They make history. They make culture. They make things happen. This is why I hated fucking Ayn Rand. I confess to you guys, one of my greatest shames, and there are many, but one of my greatest shames, just as a teenager, I read Atlas Shrugged. I read the whole libertarian propaganda bullshit, which we're going to get to libertarian propaganda in a second, because again, we're in the politics side, and you guys know I'm plugged in, so we're not short on content for this section. Fucking the billionaires just thought, oh, we'll live on our own land. Motherfucker, you produce none of that wealth. How are you going to produce the wealth without your army of labor? You're not going to achieve trillionaire status. You're not going to achieve billionaire status. You're going to live like all of us fucking live. If it's by the sweat of your own brow, you'll probably live even worse because you don't have any fucking motivation or any fucking work ethic, because everybody else around you had to cultivate that in themselves, or they would fucking die. Fuck off forever, preferably. Speaking of libertarianism, bro, I need to get your thoughts on this, because you have not responded to the stuff that I've posted, and I don't know if you've had a good laugh about it, or if you're like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised, it's whatever. I mean, I'm cool with either reaction. I just need your thoughts on this. You've heard about the U.S. bailing out Argentina, right?
Vaguely.
Okay, so Argentina. So let me give a recap for everybody, because I am way too online and I am way too political. But although in these times I don't know if there's such a thing, to be fair to my own face, Argentina, their president is named Javier Milei. He actually stole Chainsaw Man aesthetic, actually, to bring it back to anime for a split second. This is anime used for evil. How dare you use that brilliant fucking anime? Keep it out of your fucking mouth and out of your fucking hands. Because he used a chainsaw, and it seemed like an anthropomorphic kind of chainsaw. And he was like, "Oh, we're gonna slash government to the bone. We're gonna liberate markets. We're gonna unleash capitalism." They have, I think, last I heard, a 57% poverty rating. The last video I showed you of Milei at a rally, he had stuff thrown at him by at least half the crowd. The other half, I guess, was supporters, and I have to wonder how many of them he paid. And now, because his sister's corrupt, his whole family's corrupt, and the government's falling apart, wouldn't you know it, he's asking the U.S. for help. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who I've wanted to research more because he's a big part of Trump's economic vision of like tariffs and apparently wanting to bring industry back to America, but like you're fucking it up because you had your ICE agents bust a Hyundai plant that was going to train American workers to get in the battery industry, which is fucking huge, and an industry that we lag behind considerably, especially relative to Asiatic countries. So great job there, everybody. Much winning, much great again. Yeah, he's like, of course we're going to bail out Argentina. They're like a major Latin American ally, and apparently the plan is to send them $20 billion.
That's a lot
So I
of
want you
money.
to, yeah, it is. Yeah, friend, I'm so glad you said that, because that is a lot of fucking money. It's funny, man, because look, I don't want to be a liberal, and I certainly don't want to be a communist, but I was thinking, like 20 billion. Haven't we like been wanting healthcare or something? I don't know. Like I felt like healthcare was kind of on the wish list, and like I don't know. I don't know about you, but I'm a fan of clean air and clean water. I mean, it's fine though, because the head of the EPA said climate change is a religion, and I'm an atheist, so clearly I just need to get off that climate change bullshit. I was going down the wrong path. And schools. I mean, God, they could always use funding, because I've heard countless stories for a long fucking time. I'd say well over a decade, about teachers buying even just fucking stacks of paper out of pocket. 20 billion though, huh? Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. It doesn't matter though. We'll be fine. But yeah, all the while, by the way, farmers are freaking the fuck out because nobody, and especially China, their biggest like distributor or their biggest buyer, not a single soybean bought by China from US farmers. They're freaking out. They need a fucking bailout. And instead, Argentina, which by the way, what about America First? To all the right wingers that were like, oh, I'm doing Trump because it's America First. America First. Is Argentina America? I mean, they both begin with the letter A. I mean, I can understand the confusion, but that doesn't seem like America First to me. So, yeah, even your own bullshit politics, which they are bullshit because me personally, again, another controversial hot take, I'm for globalism. I'm for interconnectedness and interdependence between countries. I think global cooperation is the fucking dream because, you know, we live in a post-scarcity world and we could all, every fucking country on this planet, have a far higher standard of living and quality of life if we just got out of our own way and helped each other. But, you know, what do I fucking know, right? But no, we're going to bail out Argentina, but Gaza still gets slaughtered. U.S. farmers still get fucked. It's just great that this government has its priorities straight. Pete Hegseth calling a meeting apparently on Tuesday in Virginia, but Ashton, thanks to you, I've calmed down considerably. I'm still a little worried because he's gathering like all the top military personnel at once. And Hitler did do this.
Apparently it was for like a rah-rah speech
Yeah.
about like a warrior mentality.
A lot of people were afraid, and I would still be on guard because, you know, we don't know if that could still happen, but saying that, like, is he going to put them through loyalty tests and make an oath to Trump? Because, again, Hitler did this with his military. You know, like, do you swear loyalty to me over Germany? And it's like, well, you know, I like the mustache, so sure. What's the worst that can happen? And speaking of mustache, I still can't believe Alex Jones is sporting a Hitler mustache. What the fuck? We live in a fucking clown world.
Not only that, I saw a picture recently of Bibi doing a speech, and the way that the light hit his nose created an exact shadow where a Hitler mustache would go, and it looked like he had one.
Jesus Christ. I mean, and I'm not a religious person, but I mean, when even the literal universe is telling you he's a modern day Hitler, like, you know, maybe listen, I don't know. So yeah. So Hegseth's going to do that meeting. And again, Ashton posted something from the Daily Beast in the Discord that, again, it's like a warrior ethos speech, which everybody is clowning on him for. One of my favorite nicknames coming out about him is Keg's Breath. Like, nobody respects you, dude. You're an alcoholic. And not to mention, I don't want people to forget this either. Pete Hegseth is a rapist. And from what I've read, what his rape that he did on this woman was so horrifying. The nurse, I think, actually cried that did the rape kit and was like terrified by the results of the rape kit until Hegseth paid her off and forced her to sign an NDA. So,
how the fuck did he force her to sign an NDA?
I don't even want to know. Another interesting thing about Hegseth, there's a lot of interesting things we could say about Hegseth if anybody paid attention before his confirmation. I actually, because I hate myself and love, I don't even want to say I love politics. I'm connected to politics. Connected seems like a safe enough word. Connected to politics that I will watch media against my best interest. So several months ago, I watched a podcast, nearly 2 hours, with Pete Hegseth. And if you're wondering, John, do you hate yourself that much? Yes, I need help desperately. But there was one interesting thing I got out of that 2-hour experience. And Hegseth, so the first time Trump won in 2016, he wanted to give Hegseth a position then. I don't think he wanted to give him Secretary of Defense then. I think he wanted to make him head of Veterans Affairs. Trump actually, like, this is amazing to me. He calls Hegseth and he's like, "Hey, Pete, can I talk to you?" And he's like, "Yeah, sir, what's up?" He said, "Yeah, I mean, Pete, I want to make you the head of Veterans Affairs, but none of these veterans seem to like you very much." Trump said that to Hegseth.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And now he's Secretary of Defense. This dude is such a fucking tryhard. And that's the other thing, to go back to the logistic, like, hope argument that I kind of laid out earlier, like the bare bones, which again isn't an excuse to be complacent. Keep stepping on their fucking necks, please. These people are so incompetent and such tryhards. Like, everything they're doing in courts is failing. ICE is failing because Trump wants a civil war. He wants insurrection, like, from without, so bad, so fucking bad, and people just aren't capitulating at all. They want a left-wing, like, resistance fighter, like, capping somebody, and it's all been from the right because I said on our last quarterly Q&A, I do genuinely fear that we're entering a nihilistic age of political violence where political violence is almost like a new form of memeing, which God help us if that's even remotely true. But that's all on the right. That's all right-wing culture. You cultivated this. This is what festered in your yard. And they're just losing on every front. Now, does that mean that they're not going to consolidate power in the end? I'm not going to be that audacious. And again, we need to keep stepping on their neck. But I mean, my God, what a clown car of individuals. Jesus fucking Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else to talk about? I feel like I hit all the main points that I wanted to hit. Um, did you see anything this week? Because I know sometimes you see stuff that I don't see. Was there anything political that you saw this week that you
Everything that
found
I
interesting?
see political that I have like a serious reaction to, I post in the Discord. One big thing that's been going around lately, this status coup TikTok channel posted an interview with the Jolly Good Ginger. I don't know if you're familiar with him, where he talks about his experience enlisting in the army and how he enlisted because of poverty. Basically, he enlisted because he was too broke to afford not to, and basically, the way that he phrased it, I thought was beautiful. The government offers socialism for people to go and defend capitalism overseas.
Yes. Yes.
You're offered things like, housing and healthcare and education if you go overseas and kill some innocent people in the name of capitalism, basically.
I have to give all credit to you. Like I feel like I've had some good political sound bites over the years, but I think you had the political soundbite on this show of the year on our last quarterly Q&A when you summarized it as a dictatorship of capital. Because what is that but another form of subjugation? So full
Mm-hmm.
credit to you. I mean, that phrase has lived in my head rent free since you said it. Alongside my friend Carly's phrase that Americans are edging class consciousness, which I also think is true. So you take a dictatorship of capital with a population that is edging class consciousness, and I think you have a recipe that's pretty bad. But but it's funny though because then you look at people like Mamdani and AOC, which I have my problems with establishment social democrats, which I do think they're more social democrats because the socialism would imply that the means of production is changing hands. I don't really think that's happening here. So I would still call it social democracy because they're definitely more welfareist and they're
Yeah.
definitely wanting to do more social goods
Mm-hmm.
in the country. Um, but
Under
again,
capitalism.
undercat exactly, and that's why they're social democrats rather than democratic socialists. But that notwithstanding, people clearly want to change. People clearly want something more from capitalism, and yeah, Mamdani and AOC and people like that, they are really rising in popularity. I will say on more domestic news that's positive because the big thing was the logistics thing. I want to give you guys a hope cookie because like I don't want to be a guy that's just constantly feeding the negative. AOC's got fucking political options. She might have the most options of any politician in Washington right now because on one hand, if she was to primary Schumer for his Senate seat, she's up by I think like 30 points.
40
I think
something
it's
points, I think it is.
it was yeah, you might even be right that it was 40 something points. She's up 40 something points there. But even for the presidency, even for the 2028 election, she's within 10 points of Gavin Newsom. And I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to get it off my chest early. I will vote Gavin Newsom, but I will fucking hate. In fact, I'm going to be truthful. Voting Gavin Newsom is probably going to be the most loathsome vote I've cast. I thought Kamala was bad, and I've really lost even more respect for Kamala with those excerpts of her book coming out. Because, like, my God, how tone deaf are you? I find Newsom more loathsome than Biden, like pre-election. Because Biden, I mean, funding a genocide, you don't really come back from that. He's fuck off forever. But pre-election standards, Newsom to me is more loathsome than either Biden or Kamala, and I'm still going to fucking swallow the pill and vote because if we have a chance to at least go back to neoliberalism and still resist neoliberalism, because here's the thing, guys, a Newsom presidency isn't going to shrink ICE. They're not. They may no longer have them wear masks, but they're still going to keep the overall infrastructure. And a bunch of other stuff too will probably stay in place. So keep that energy when the Democrats in office because this really is poor versus rich. And it always has been.
Yeah.
It is class warfare. It always has been class warfare. That does not change with Newsom just because he knows how to tweet with some charisma. Like, let's raise our fucking standards here collectively. But AOC has options. I agree with you, and you've been saying this for a while that you think her best move is to primary Schumer because then she locks down political power that she wouldn't even have to wager to run for president in 2032.
Yeah, basically, if she stays in the House and wants to run for president in either 2028 or 2032, she would lose her seat because she would be forced off of the campaign trail for her House seat in order to campaign to be president. So New York would go through, like, as soon as she declares that she's running for president, New York would be able to basically start fielding new candidates for that House spot. So her best bet is absolutely to run for Senate in 2028, beat Schumer for that spot, and then because senators have 6-year terms, her next reelection campaign would not be until 2034. So 2032, she could stay as a senator and run for president. And if she loses, she wouldn't lose her job as senator. But if she would try and run for president in 2028 as a House member, she would lose her job whether she wins or not.
Somebody else that I think is going to gain more momentum as we get closer to election season, provided we even still have election infrastructure and everything else. Because again, stay on their necks to make sure that we
Mm-hmm.
have that. Tim Walz, I think, is definitely going to want to make his own independent run because I do not think he liked how the Kamala campaign went, especially the second half.
Dude, I'm
Because
going to
he's
say
even
this right now, though. I don't think that Walls is going to run for president. I mean, if he's asked to be somebody's vice president again, I think he might be willing, but even that, I think he might turn down. His performance in the vice president debate was so astonishingly bad. I wouldn't blame him if he was too embarrassed to want to step onto a debate stage again.
you know what? I will cede that ground to you, but let me just say this as a counterpoint. I've seen interviews of him where he seemed very displeased with like how he was utilized in the Kamala campaign, whether rightly or wrongly. Because I do agree about that debate performance. You never play footsies with fucking fascists, but of course the Democratic Party would because LOL Democrats.
Well, and even
But
even
yeah,
then, Walls was the first person to jump in and be like, "Oh, this is so wrong. He was a good man," talking about fucking Brian Thompson of all people.
yeah. Oh, oh. Again, Ashton said it: dictatorship of capital. And as I've been saying, and as we've just been saying collectively for years, only war is class war. They're waging it from above all the fucking time. Um, and yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
Walls is dead to me. Basically, he literally tweeted the day that Brian Thompson got killed. This is horrifying news and a terrible loss for the business and healthcare community in Minnesota. Minnesota is sending our prayers to Brian's family and the United Healthcare team.
yeah, bro, that's gross. I'll even say that like Bernie Sanders navigated that death so much better than I think any other politician did because he did condemn the murder as I think he's supposed to do for political points. But then he also dovetailed it to say this is happening because we have a horrible healthcare system. So like he did better than most because he actually talked about why that fucking happened.
Yep.
Um Free Luigi Mangione, by the way, who only allegedly did it, has not been convicted of anything, and we'll just have to see how that goes. I know the terrorism charges got dropped because they were fucking nonsense. I'm telling you, this whole fucking regime is just clowns, fucking clowns everywhere. I think that might be it though for political talk because I don't really have anything else. Um, and yeah, I would just keep a watchful eye on everything. You know, Trump did indict James Comey. That was another thing. I couldn't give two shits about James Comey, but this is again evidence that he wants to go after his political opponents. Comey welcomes it. He said, "quote Let's have a trial," because he knows Trump's legal team is again a bunch of jokes. And I think this is just to expend morale, expend resources on bullshit. That's why he litigates a lot and he sues a lot because they'll always want to settle out of court because they know trials take a long time and nobody wants to expend those resources. But you know what? Indulge him, push back because when you push back, he's got nothing to push with,
Mm-hmm.
when he's on the defensive. But of course, I'm screaming into the void, so whatever. Okay, so that wraps up that. So we've done wrestling, pop culture, politics. Do you want to hand it over for our first weekly Q&A, post quarterly Q&A? Should we open
Yeah,
up the
sure. We
forum?
already have like 7 or 8 questions.
All right, cool. So yeah, let's start with the ones in the Discord, and then I guess we can go to the live chat. So
Yeah,
what do we
yeah.
got in the
Everyone in
Discord?
chat, you here in live chat, feel free to ask questions. We will get around to those after we get through the ones that were already asked in the Discord. First up, we have Super Blue with 6 questions. Good Lord, Super Blue. First up, now that the U.S. owns TikTok, how fast do you see them doing everything they have accused China of while they've owned TikTok?
Oh, 100%. Again, every accusation is a confession with these people. I 1000% expect it. Yeah, nothing more to say than that.
Yeah, agree. Next up, Jada Parker. Oh, the question was, I guess, will Jada Parker ever be allowed to win anything in WWE.
She'll be a champion eventually. I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger yet, to be honest, but I think it'll happen for her. I'm still
She might have
optimistic.
a very Bianca Belair like career. Bianca never won any major titles in NXT either, and now she's been on the main roster for a few years, and she's like one of the aces of the company.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think Jada will be as successful as Bianca though, because as great as she is at talking, she doesn't have some of the like unbelievable physical traits that Bianca has. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe just because of how good Jada is on the mic, maybe she will find herself in that sort of conversation. But I don't know. We'll see. Next
Yeah.
up, do you think TNA will beat NXT at NXT Invasion in 2 weeks?
WWE doesn't let TNA do shit, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if TNA won a match.
Yeah.
Actually, I
Damn.
take that back. TNA is probably going to win one match because the Hardy Boys are apparently challenging Dark State for the NXT Tag Titles, and they're probably going to win that.
All right. There you go.
Just making sure that everything I just said registered with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is.
How do you feel about the results of TNA Victory Road?
Didn't see them. Don't really care about TNA all that much right now. So, do we want to
Here,
go over them? I guess for
yeah,
real
real
time
quick.
reactions.
Pre-show, Wentz beat Trey and Cedric Alexander. The System beat Order 4. I don't think that
Okay.
Ali was part of that though. Ali, I think, had another match later. Xia Li in TNA, known as Lei Ying Li,
Yeah.
and Kalani Jordan won a battle royal to determine who would face off for the Knockouts title later on in the night. We kind of talked about this with Kalani beating her for that title later on in the night. Matt Cardona and I'm seeing here the Hometown Man, which is I guess Cody Deaner, defeated the Nemeths in a random tag match with no consequences. Mike Santana defeated Ridge Holland. That's pretty cool. Mustafa Ali defeated Moose via pinfall. And I guess the consequences here are that Ali got Order 4 the advantage in the hardcore war between both teams coming up at Bound for Glory. Joe Hendry beat Eric Young. Matt Hardy beat AJ Francis. Frankie Kazarian won the TNA International title off of Steve Macklin. And the main event, Leon Slater successfully retained the X Division title against Myron Reed. Thoughts?
Nothing really. It is what it is.
Yeah, honestly, same. Moving on. Would you invite LA Knight to TWitWoW Island? No.
No. No.
Thank you.
Are you fucking no? Never mind.
Super Blue's
You're
last question for me is for me, I should say, and he said, "Is it time for Penn State to fire James Franklin?" I don't know. If you're asking it, probably not though. Next set of questions, Alex Foster. What celebrities would be invited to TWitWoW Island? They don't have to be permanently invited. They can just have visitor passes.
oh my god. Let me think.
Sami
Will
Zayn,
Poulter.
Will Poulter, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens,
Pretty much most of the cast from The Bear. Um.
right? Jeremy Allen White, Io
Yeah.
Dabiri,
Yeah.
John Bern. Well, we already said no to John Bernthal though.
That is true with this copycat. Yeah. I guess we'd have to screen them all first, for those political takes. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Jamie Lee Curtis is also a no because she seems sweet, but I also get sus vibes a little bit. So I'm like, no.
Sigourney Weaver's invited all day, every day.
Yes, Sigourney Weaver.
Julianne Moore has to be invited after the movie we just saw with her in it.
Yes, yes. Oh my
Uh,
god.
John Leguizamo is invited for sure. George
Yes.
Lopez is absolutely invited.
George Lopez has been meeting the moment lately, and I respect
Yes.
him deeply for that. Io, Kyrie, Rhea. I mean, dude, listen, we both kind of admitted it to each other. We got to invite Oscar, right? Because I mean,
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oscar right now.
Yeah.
My
Definitely.
God,
Yeah.
I'm
Asuka
fanning
for sure.
myself right now. I'm fanning myself just from the memory of it. Jesus Christ.
Key and Peele both absolutely invited.
Yes, yes.
Dua Lipa invited for sure.
Oh, yes, yes, Dua Lipa's wonderful, yes.
Ken Jennings invited.
Dude, Ken Jennings. Did I ever tell you, we actually, my family and I, we used to watch Jeopardy during Ken Jennings' era, and my sister had, like, a weird crush on Ken Jennings. It
Oh
was
wow, I did
it
not
was
know that. That's kind of
it
funny.
was it was I hope she doesn't mind me outing her like this, but yeah, my sister once had a crush on Ken Jennings. Oh, man. Um,
I'm just saying that because there was an episode of Jeopardy where Ken Jennings brought up how he hates rich people, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna string them up when the revolution comes."
yes, bro, just because I mean, really, this is you and I answering it, so I can't really be bothered to think about everybody else, but for musical acts, we would get XG, and
Yes, hell yes.
I would want Sleep Token for myself because especially their
Sleep
latest album,
Theory
I
can
fucking
come,
oh
hopefully.
sleep yeah yes, and honestly, bring Nevertell too so that they can do Breaking the Silence again as a collab.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, TWitWoW Island's gonna be fucking lit. Oh, we just need to be
Meet
billionaires to
me at
make it
the
happen.
altar.
Yes, they're making a comeback. They're making a comeback. Really cool new guitarist and everything. Um, yeah, yeah, no, yeah, we're gonna be cultured as fuck. Um, yeah, I think I'm good on that question though. Otherwise, we can keep naming names all night. So, what's the next
I
question on
have
Foster?
one more before we end it because I know you're going to be behind this one. Catherine Hahn.
Oh, of course. What a fucking treasure she is.
Yeah. All right. Last question that was from the Discord. This one also from Alex Foster. With CMLL having a Pokemon themed show, what other luchadors should have Pokemon gear?
What other luchadors? I mean, Ray's always been known for his gear. Ray should do Pokemon gear at least once. I don't care if your children are too old for Pokemon. The world isn't too old for Pokemon, apparently. Um,
God damn right.
just because I know he would pull it off and I believe in him. Actually, no. I was gonna say Santos, but no. I think Bandito should. Bandito would be really cool Pokemon gear. Get a Pokemon themed mask and shit. Yeah, I think you could pull that off. Maybe get some Charizard flames on the pants. Yeah. Um, I don't know, man.
I
I'm
mean,
naming some people.
Phoenix should obviously have Ho-Oh gear.
Yeah, there you go. What about Penta? We think Penta could be like Gengar or some shit, like some kind of
That
ghost
would be
Pokemon.
fun. I love the idea of Gengar specifically. I was thinking like, is there like a skeleton Pokemon that we could have him be? But I don't think there is. I think that the closest thing would be like Cough Regis.
I just have to say, and I know it's kind of a parody at this point, but I'm shocked that there's something that Pokemon doesn't have. Like, I feel like you could go to the store and be like, "Hey, you got any of those skeleton Pokemon? Sorry, we've never made one of those."
Yeah,
But your Pokemon,
yeah,
you've made everything. Like,
yeah.
what?
There's a Pokemon that has skeleton like part of its name. There's a Pokemon named Skeledirge, but it's like a flaming crocodile, so it doesn't really have like an actual skeleton thing going on.
That makes me irrationally angry. I might have to do something about this. I
We
don't
could
know.
go with like Cubone and Marowak because they like the whole gimmick there is that Cubone wears the skull of its mother.
That oh god, yeah, I forgot about that backstory. God, early Pokemon was low key very heavy. What the fuck?
There's
Yeah, go.
also Duskull, which like it's like the gimmick is that it's like a skull that's been inhabited by a ghost.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to possess, but sure, if it's a skull that you want to possess, I mean, knock yourself out. God.
Yeah.
Um, is that all the Discord questions? We still have Discord questions.
Drago, I know Drago's still wrestling. He could be like one of the dragon types, or maybe even all of the dragon types in his gear.
Yeah, like what is it? Like not Lapras, right? Isn't there like a La something Pokemon?
Well,
Lap
there is a
something.
Lapras. Lapras is a thing, but
Oh,
it's
okay,
not a
yeah.
dragon though.
Oh, damn. Damn. Well, I know
Yeah, the
Dragonite's a
dragon.
dragon. Yeah.
Dragonite is one.
It's literally in the title.
Salamence is the Gen 3, the big dragon in Gen 3. Gen 4 Garchomp would be the big one. Gen 5 introduced a bunch of dragons. It was like Haxorus and Drotagon and all these little. And then like I think Gen 6 might have been like Noivern and I don't remember what else. And then like Gen 7 was like Kumo-O or Jangmo-O or one of those guys. They're like fighting type dragons and Yeah, there's been like one big new set of dragons introduced every gen, with a few other getting sprinkled in over the last like 5 gens or so. So yeah, there's a hell of a selection you can choose from.
Nice. All right. Next question.
Well, we can get into the caster sales questions now. His first one was, did you watch the most recent Superman?
We did, and we both enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think me personally, I have to give big props. I mean, David Corn Sweat, like he really embodied Superman.
Hmm.
Really, everybody kind of embodied their titular characters. Like Rachel Brosnahan, really was amazing as Lois Lane. But I have to give the bouquet of best performance to Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I
Nice.
really like his Lex. In fact, that was another thing about the Peacemaker episode this week. There was a scene with Rick Flag Sr. and Lex Luthor,
Yep.
and like that scene even more sold me on Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I mean,
Dude,
he
yeah.
did his
It's
homework.
funny because the entire Superman movie, Lex Luthor didn't really get to be smart. Like there weren't really any points in the Superman movie, where Lex Luthor really got to like flex his deductive reasoning skills or his like ability to like predict Superman or read him like a book or anything like that. We didn't really get any of that in the movie. The main thing that really kind of showed off his intelligence was like the fact that he created Ultraman in the first place out of a
Yeah.
clone of Clark, and that he, was like controlling him in the fight. So it was like Lex's brain using this sort of avatar to fight for him and stuff. Like that was like the only real like flex of intelligence that we got from Lex. But I feel like the scene in Peacemaker episode, I think it was 6, we got to see him talk more, and we got to see him like succeed at a negotiation, and it was like, yeah, okay, this feels more like a Lex Luthor type character to me than the movie. Honestly, the
Dude,
movie
yes.
Lex, it felt almost like too like we got like dropped into the middle of something. Whereas the Peacemaker episode, it felt more like, okay, this is who I expect when I think of Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely excited to see more of that character in James Gunn's Superman universe that he's creating. So, yeah, we both enjoyed it. Then Cash Sales asked, do you think there's any chance of Oba and Brock happening? I would say not a 0% chance, but I
Mm-hmm.
would say it's still very slim. For me anyway. I don't know if
Yeah.
Ashton would agree,
No,
but
I
yeah,
fully agree. I think that it's possible, but it would require some real effort on the part of WWE.
yeah, and unlike your face, I don't even know if that match is worth the effort because fuck Brock Lesnar. So,
Obviously, yeah.
I'd be far more hyped for
But I,
Gunther versus Oba at this point. So,
oh my
yeah.
God, yeah. But I definitely do think that Oba is the type to play ball in situations like that. Like if they were like, listen,
Oh, for
Oba, Brock's got all this controversy about him, but you're gonna get a match with him, and he's gonna go over, and Oba would be like, fine, whatever.
Because I think Oba understands the business. Like, hey, if I'm getting work and I'm getting paid, what do I have to complain about?
Yep.
Um,
Caster Sales with another question just dropped. He said, "Did you watch Fantastic Four?" No, we have not yet. It's not on Disney Plus yet, and we don't really watch theater movies that much anymore.
yeah, yeah. So we're just gonna wait for that to drop appropriately so that we can enjoy it. Um, and yeah, any other questions, guys?
I think we can kind of start like working on closing the door, because we've exhausted all of our Discord questions. Super Blue seems to be out of questions, and Caster has asked 3 already.
Yeah, well, the door's currently ajar, but I think we will fully close it and get out of here. So, thank you guys so much for joining us. Leave a like as you file out. Subscribe with a bell icon notification so you miss any of that 12 goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the Schmucks. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast and all the IWC. And we will see you guys again. I know we have quite a stardom schedule. Is that going to be like a Tuesday thing, stardom?
No,
When are we seeing
no.
these people again?
We have it figured out to just do Thursdays for Stardom and be totally fine. This coming Thursday is going to be October 2nd. We're going to be doing a grand total of 3 matches that we already have established, plus whatever matches we decide to react to from the 927 Korakuen show that just aired on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't have a card for that when we initially decided on our matches. We picked out 2 matches from September 15th and 1 from September 21st. So we do those, and then the 927 show this coming Thursday, and we're good. And then the following Thursday, we have a 928 and a 929 show, plus New Blood, 24, which will be airing on October 4th, 5 days before we go live.
There you go. All right. We will see you guys then. Until then, be good to yourselves and each other. Have a great rest of your weekend. Tune in. Peace out.